Spokesperson for the Defense Ministry of Ukraine, Colonel Viktoria. Kushnir will be speaking first, and then we'll have the spokesperson for the anti-terrorist operation, Lieutenant Colonel Stelmakh. Good morning, dear President. I am glad to see you. On the 1st of September, the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine has for the first time conducted an auction to purchase products for the Armed Forces of Ukraine at the electronic ground of the System of Electronic State Purchases Prozoro. So, at the moment, the Ministry of Defense is buying through the system of electronic auctions the material property, foodstuffs, medical property, and lubricants, oil and lubricants. This week, the Ministry of Defense has conducted 136 electronic reduction auctions with the aggregate amount of money involved over 587 million hryvnia. As a result of auctions, the Ministry of Defense has signed 38 contracts, saving almost 17 million hryvnia. Besides, the Ministry of Defense has adopted the decision to accept proposals on 12 other electronic tenders, and the saving there amounts to 1.5 million hryvnia. At the stage of qualification, there are 86 electronic tenders with a projected saving almost 88.5 million hryvnia. The auctions on other 39 lots of Defense Ministry are going on to the general tune of 172 million hryvnia, and up to 5 participants take part in auctions on every lot, on average. This week, according to the contracts, the Armed Forces of Ukraine have received 8,740 sets of summer combat fatigues, 20,000 pairs of shoes, 4,000 units of body armor, 2,000 sets of costumes for experts and of different armed forces and services, and 2,000 warm jackets. Over the last week, the commissions of the Defense Ministry and the Armed Forces to have bestowed the status of the combat action participant to 162 military servicemen and workers of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. So, as of today, the status of the combat action participant is bestowed on 69,950 persons, and at the moment the commissions are still considered several hundred sets of documents. The paying out of remuneration for military servicemen of the Armed Forces of Ukraine is going on. The Ukrainian servicemen have got 3,177,500 hryvnia for successful fulfillment of combat tasks within the units, and also almost 60 million hryvnia for their direct participation in combat. The families of the military servicemen who died in action during the anti-terrorist operation 2015 have been paid more than 977 million hryvnia of a one-off money help, and over 155 million hryvnia were paid out in connection to wounds and disability. In 2015, the military representations of the representatives of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine have controlled the quality of repairs and manufacture, and have accepted for the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine the production of goods of defense designation to the general amount of almost 3,007,100,000 hryvnia, and in other armed structures 2,784,000,000 hryvnia, and the special fund of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine has got 11,364,500 hryvnia for providing different services. Besides, since the beginning of 2015, the saving of budgetary funds because of the work of the representatives of the Ministry of Defense have reached 560.5 million hryvnia. The Ukrainian military in the anti-terrorist operation zone continue to clean up the territories from explosives. Over the last week, the engineering units of the armed forces of Ukraine have found and defused 184 explosive devices. Starting from the beginning of the anti-terrorist operation, the military engineers have defused in the anti-terrorist operation zone 17,860 explosive devices. And Ukrainian military sportsmen have participated in 8 international competitions and won a silver and a bronze medal. The sergeant Alina Boykova has got silver in Sumo World Championship in Japan, and sports activist Maria Ilnitska in Prague was third in the powerlifting junior world championship. And now I give the floor to Anatoliy Stelmakh, Lieutenant Colonel, who is the officer of the press center of the headquarters of the anti-terrorist operation. Good morning, Anatoly. What about the dynamics of the action in the anti-terrorist operation zone? Over the 1st to 3rd September, the situation in the anti-terrorist operation zone remained stable. Illegal armed formation have minimized the shelling and firing at our positions, and it was chaotic and unsystemic. At the same time, over these 3 days, the gunmen have several times tried to provoke the anti-terrorist operation forces for a more active armed juxtaposition. On the 1st of September at approximately 8 a.m., the stronghold of the anti-terrorist operation forces in the Shastya settlement in Luhansk region was pounded by the enemy mortar of 82 caliber. Next to Donetsk at 3 p.m., the gunmen have fired at our positions in Marinka, and at 5:30 p.m. to the south of Avdiivka, the criminals have fired from grenade launch and small firearms at the Ukrainian stronghold. Also in Artemivsk sector, almost at 3 p.m., the enemy fired at our positions in Sanzharivka from small firearm and grenade launcher. At approximately 7 a.m. on the 2nd of September, during the fulfillment of tasks to fight the illegal trafficking through the demarcation line, our mobile group was ambushed. It was composed of volunteers and workers of the State Fiscal Service of Ukraine, the Service of Security in Ukraine, and military commandos. This happened not far from Lobacheva, between Slovyano-Serbsk and Shastya. The road was mined, and the sniper of the invaders worked there. As a result, a volunteer and a worker of the State Fiscal Service died, and 4 soldiers got wounded. The reinforcement went to the place of the event, and after the attack was repelled, the enemy retreated over the Siversky Donets River. Besides, the mercenaries have fired at our positions in Krymske and Shastya, and also the Ukrainian stronghold in Novotoshkivsk was shelled from a 120 millimeter mortar. On the 3rd of September, during the day, the situation in the anti-terrorist operation zone remained calm. From 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., there was one case of using the arms by the enemy. At approximately 5 p.m., from the vicinity of Yasinuvata, the gunmen have fired from small firearms at our stronghold in the vicinity of Avdiivka. Also, at approximately 8 and 10 p.m., the mercenaries have fired at our stronghold to the south of Avdiivka from small firearms and grenade launchers. At 8:30 p.m., from the side of Spartak, the Ukrainian positions in Opitne were shelled by 82 millimeter mortar. And over the 1st to 3rd September, the illegal armed formations have 20 times violated the ceasefire. And of course, the lull on the front has given an impetus for the work of the Ukrainian units of civil and military cooperation. Our officers, in cooperation with the Fund Volunteer 100, have delivered different stuff, including school uniform and school bags to pupils in Marinka and Krasnohorivka. And besides, the officers of the anti-terrorist operation forces have conducted classes with the school children on urgent evacuation during the artillery shelling and on the provision of the first medical help. And also the experts in civil-military cooperation are accompanying the internally displaced persons from Marinka. The people make use of ceasefire and real calm in the vicinity of Donetsk. They try to take away their personal belongings from the dwellings that until recently were round the clock under the fire of the gunmen. This is it, and the next briefing here is at 10 o'clock. Thank you.